The views and opinions expressed in the DILLIGAF podcast are those of the host alone and are not intended to express those of any other person, business, or entity. The DILLIGAF podcast is for entertainment only. These are my opinions and should not be interpreted as facts or advice. Think for yourself.
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DILLIGAF podcast, talking about anything and everything that interests me. If it makes me think, laugh, cry, scream, rage, or say what the fuck, you're going to hear about it. My name's Tom. I'm your host. I want to thank everybody for checking out the show on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, comment, all that kind of good stuff. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all the socials. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's DILLIGAFpod@gmail.com. And you can find all that and more on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the QR code right there in the corner of your screen if you're watching on the video. So we got a very interesting and I would also say polarizing topic this week. We're talking about morality, sense of right and wrong. And there's a lot of debate about this online, especially among religious groups. A religious person will tell you they like to talk a lot about objective morality. Like their God is the ultimate source of morality, the only source of morality in the world, and without God there can be no morality. I call bullshit. That's just not a thing. There is no such thing as objective morality. It doesn't exist. Morality is 100% subjective. And I think the biggest example of that, the biggest proof that morality is subjective, is that it evolves over time and it changes based on location. What would be considered moral in the United States is not necessarily what is considered moral in the Middle East or in Europe or in Asia or in other parts of the world, and vice versa. What's considered moral in other parts of the world might not be considered moral in the US. It has a lot to do with location, environment, the ruling class. Let's throw that one in there as well. Religion does have a lot to do with it, because religious people's morality is vastly different than people who don't ascribe to any particular faith. Like, damn. But let's get into some of this here, because, like I said, morality is 100% subjective. Every person has their own personal definition of morality, of right and wrong. And I think another good example, slavery was once considered perfectly fine all over the world. Now it's considered completely immoral. Enslaving another person, owning another human being, is pretty much considered universally immoral. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still places where it happens. The whole human trafficking thing, that is slavery, make no mistake. So it still happens. But I think for the most part, it's considered a bad thing. pretty much everywhere now. But like I said, it evolves over time, because it was once considered perfectly fine. I'll go back to religious people. The Christian Bible literally tells you how to treat your slaves and what you should and shouldn't do with slaves. It doesn't say you shouldn't own them. It just tells you how to treat them. Yeah. But going back to the location thing, there are parts of the world where honor killings are still a thing, still accepted. And when I say honor killings, I'm talking about a man killing a woman family member for somehow dishonoring the family. A woman has a sexual relationship with a man that's not her husband. She's dishonored the family. That man can kill her and face little to no punishment for it. There are literally provisions in some countries' laws that allow for this and have lesser punishments for this kind of thing. That would be unheard of here in the United States. Here in the US, like for the most part, a murder's a murder, unless it's in self-defense. But there are parts of the world, honor killings are perfectly fine. They're accepted as just part of the culture. The big difference in morality there, just based simply on location. Killing people of different faiths, this is going back to the religion thing, was, and in some places still is, considered a moral act. I mean, if you believe the stories in the Bible, well, if you do, that's a whole other conversation we need to have. But look at all of the towns and cities that were just destroyed and massacred during the Exodus from Egypt with the Israelites. And that was considered moral. They were commanded by God to destroy these towns and kill all these people. You know, except for the virgin women, those were taken as slaves, basically. That was considered moral. And Christians today will tell you that, it was God's command. If God says it, it's moral. By the way, I kind of I'm not calling them Christians anymore. I think everybody knows by now, as far as I'm concerned, all religions are cults. They will henceforth be known as the cult of Christ. That is what they are. That the cult of Christ, and they will tell you that if their God commands it, it's moral. Bullshit. That's a cop out. It's a bullshit excuse. I am of the opinion, I think a lot of people are of the opinion, especially if you talk to most people who would consider themselves atheists, as I do, moral and morality is just simply not doing things that would harm someone else, not doing things that would harm the world we live in and the people around us. It really is that simple. And I love it when religious people are like, "Oh, well, if you don't follow the Lord, that just means you just want to sin. You can go around raping and murdering all that you want." Well, yeah, but the amount of raping and murdering that I want to do is none because it's wrong, because it harms people. It's not a hard concept. It's not rocket science. If something you're doing is harming someone, it is immoral. But see, they don't want to hear that because a lot of what they have to say is harmful to other people, especially around this time of the year. It's June, it's Pride Month, and the cult of Christ comes out of the fucking woodwork to tell all the members of the LGBTQ community how sinful they are and that they're going to hell and they're living immoral lives. Fuck you. What you're doing is immoral. What you're doing is harming people. The shit that they're doing is what causes LGBTQ people, especially young people, to harm themselves because of bullshit like that. So what you're doing is immoral. What you're doing is harmful. I don't care what your God commands. It doesn't apply to me. And it doesn't apply to them. It applies to you and the rest of your cult. But part of your cult's practices is to spew your bullshit onto the rest of the world. And you think you somehow have the moral high ground in this bullshit. Morality is simply not harming other people in the world around us. That's it. That is the simplest explanation of morality that I could possibly give to anyone. If you are causing harm, you are immoral. It is that simple. But so many people want to tell you, oh, if you don't have God in your life, you have no morality. Fuck you. And fuck your God while you're at it. Yeah, I said it. I am an atheist. I don't believe any of the bullshit. Okay. Human beings have been around on this earth for 300,000 years. Religion has only been around for 50 to 100,000 years. And Abrahamic religions have only been around for about 3,800 years. So about maybe what is that, 10, 12% of the existence of humanity, the Abrahamic religions have been around. And you're going to tell me they're not man-made? Fuck you. But I'm getting off track. We're talking about morality, not religion today, but they are very intertwined because any religious person, not just the cult of Christ, any religious person, be it Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever, they believe that their God is the ultimate authority and that anything they do in his name is moral, including killing each other or killing other people. Like I said, killing people of different faiths in some places is still considered moral. I mean, Christians killing Muslims, Muslims killing Jews, an endless fucking cycle. And the fucked up part is they all worship the same God. But yeah, morality is, like I said, it's a very interesting topic. Don't ever get into a discussion of morality with a devoutly religious person, though, because it will just drive you insane. Because there are so many contradictions when it comes to religious morality. And like I said, there is no such thing as objective morality. Everyone has their own definition of right and wrong. And I think there are some ideas that are universal or close to being universal, but it's damn sure not the Ten Commandments. It's damn sure not any type of Jewish or Muslim commandments or laws or anything like that. I think the only nearly universal moral arguments are killing is wrong, slavery is wrong, stealing is wrong, sexual assault is wrong, and even some of those, the specifically the killing and the stealing, that there's room to argue. Cold-blooded murder is wrong. Killing someone in defense of yourself or someone else, I think, is morally right. If if you have to, if it's their life or yours, yes, you are morally correct in defending yourself or defending someone else. Stealing, if someone is starving and they steal food just to survive, I don't think that's morally wrong. But I think those are the only two that you could really argue. I mean, there is no case to be made that slavery is right ever. And there's no case to be made that sexual assault is right ever. Killing and stealing are kind of negotiable. Depends on circumstances. So I would say universally, if there is such a thing as universal morality, then slavery and sexual assault would be the only two things that are universally immoral. Because, like I said, there are exceptions. There are legitimate reasons to take another person's life. There are legitimate reasons to steal. There's no legitimate reasons for enslaving someone or sexually assaulting someone. Zero legitimate reasons for those. So, but outside of that, we create our own morality based on where we are, when we are, our upbringing, how we're raised. We either fall in line with how we're brought up or we push back against it. You know, if somebody's brought up in a just a terrible, racist, bigoted environment, their morality could go one of two ways. It could fall in line with that terrible, racist, bigoted environment, or it could push back against it and stand up for people that that environment tries to push down. But that's really what shapes individual morality. There's no universal rule book on morals. There's no objective morality. It's all subjective. Again, based on who you are, where you are, when you are. It's your environment, it's your upbringing, it's your religious beliefs or lack thereof. All of these things shape a person's morality, and it's going to be different for each person. Like I said, I think there are some shared ideas, but very, very few. That, like I said, to my thinking, the two things that I named to be morally wrong, slavery and sexual assault, are the only universal immoral actions. Outside of that, and I mean, there's fucked up people in this world who have no problem with either of those things. Let's not get it twisted. There are people who are just fine with both of those things. Those are some immoral motherfuckers. And if you disagree with me, you're one too. But yeah, if you ever want an adventure, get into a conversation or just read a conversation on social media, on a social media post about morality with a religious person, specifically a member of the cult of Christ, and an atheist or a member of some other faith. Watch that member of the cult of Christ. Watch the mental fucking gymnastics that they go through to try to prove that their God is the end all be all when it comes to morality. And they can't answer questions logically about this. You ask them, well, was it moral to destroy the city of Canaan on the way to Israel or whatever? Oh, yes, it was moral because God said so. Okay, but outside of him saying so, why is it moral? The only thing they're guilty of is a different faith. Well, God said it was moral, so God commanded it, so it's moral. It's really scary and sad all at the same time. And I'll say it again, it just simply boils down to just don't harm people. Don't harm the world around you. Don't do things or say things that are going to harm someone in any kind of way or cause them to harm themselves. Because that's something that a lot of religious people are guilty of. A lot of times to their own family, their own children. But they want to claim the fucking moral high ground. And again, especially during this time of year, during Pride Month, God forbid a member of the cult of Christ have a gay child or a trans child, because that child is going to be harmed, more than likely, because they for some odd reason think that anything different than them is immoral or against their God or sinful, whatever. Because they think their rules apply to everyone. They don't. They apply to your cult, and that's it. And honestly, this discussion has been going on probably for centuries. For as long as there's been the spoken word or the written word, people have been debating about morality, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. And obviously, I don't have all the answers to this. I'm just out here giving my opinion on the matter. But if you think harming people or causing people to harm themselves or harming the world around you or causing harm in general to anyone or anything is moral just because your God said so, you need to rethink some shit. It's that simple. I mean, that's my idea of morality. Just get through life doing the least amount of harm to the people and things around you. And if you do cause harm, try to make up for it. Try to make amends in some kind of way, because it happens. Nobody goes through life without causing any harm to anything ever. That just doesn't work that way. Shit happens. Try to fix it. That's the best moral thing that you can do when you do cause harm to someone. Try to fix it. Make amends. Do what you can to remedy the harm that you've caused. It's not hard, but people don't want to accept that. And I don't know why. The simplest answers are usually the best ones. What is morality? Morality is not causing harm. What is an immoral act? Something that causes harm, especially if it's malicious. Again, I think there are times when taking life in defense of yourself or someone else, yes, that's a moral act. You're defending yourself, you're defending your family or someone, or it could be a perfect stranger. You're defending someone from harm. And in that defense, you ended up taking someone's life. It's tragic, it's unfortunate, but it's not wrong. Or a homeless person starving in the streets steals some bread or whatever to survive. That's not wrong to me. That you're doing what you have to do to survive. Yes, you're causing a little bit of harm to the business or the person that you're stealing from, but it's not irreparable harm. It's minor on the grand scale of things, and you do what you have to do to survive. But I don't know. I see more and more of this debate online, especially lately. I've joined some interesting Facebook groups in the last few weeks, like atheists versus Christians and things like that. So you see a lot of these kind of arguments going on, and people who again think that their God is the end all be all of morality, and they're so full of shit. Because make no mistake, in the Bible, God is the villain. He's the bad guy. Sorry to break that to all of the cult of Christ followers, but yeah, he's the bad guy. But anyway, I think I've pissed enough people off for this week, so I'm gonna wrap things up. But yeah, just wanted to give my 2 cents on this whole morality argument because I see it so much online, especially with the groups that I've joined. Because I like having these kind of debates if somebody's actually willing to debate, which includes listening, not just spouting off your own opinions. And part of a debate is listening to the other person's opinion, being open to their ideas. So I like having debates about stuff like this. It's just very hard to find someone who will actually debate without just being an asshole and refusing to listen and just wants to get their own word in. But once in a while, once in a while I'm able to find somebody to actually have a healthy exchange of information with. But I think with that, I'm going to wrap things up for this week. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about where does your morality come from? Like I said, my contention is it comes from your upbringing, your environment, where you are, the time that you live in, the place that you live in, your family, your friends, all of this stuff shapes an individual's morality, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Where do you think morality comes from? I think it's an individual thing for the most part. There's very little universal morality to be had there, and there is no such thing as objective morality. It just simply does not exist. But tell me what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any other ideas of where it might come from or why? Let me hear it. Shoot me an email or leave me some comments. Whatever. I want to know. What do you guys think? But with that, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Again, thank you to everybody for checking out the show on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all socials. If you ever want to shoot me an email, it's DILLIGAFpod@gmail.com. You can find all that on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the little QR code right there in the corner of your screen. And before I wrap things up, I just got to say, as always, if anyone has any issue with anything that I have said here today, ask yourself one question. Do I look like I give a fuck?
'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want